There will be 80 billion connected devices by 2020. I once presented to the CTO of Samsung, and when I was presenting this analysis, the same slide, he said to me, my numbers are conservative. His numbers were 120 billion connected devices. Now Samsung, like Apple, is a mega organization. As a matter of fact, it contributes to about 25% of South Korea's GDP. So I think personally, I told him my numbers might be conservative, but I do agree that's where the world is heading. We'll have 5 billion people on this planet having access to the internet. More than half of them will have access to the internet on tablet PCs. For the first time yet last year, we had more sales of tablet devices as opposed to desktop devices. So when we start talking about Internet of Things, that's really upon us today. And if we just go through the lifetime of how we've gone from 1G to 4G, 2G was all about digital data, digital voice, 3G went into data, 4G has gone into video streaming. We have almost 4G plus today. Now very interesting is if you just look at the bandwidth here of 4G plus, 256 megabytes per second. And by the end of this decade, we're going to have 5G, 5 times more speed than what we have today. So when we talk about business models, which Arup was referring to, especially mobile-based business models, they become a lot more important. Now, we don't know what the standards of 5G will be, but from some preliminary analysis we've done, we believe 5G will enable machine-to-machine communication. So really, when I talk about those 80 billion connected devices or 120 billion connected devices, that really is upon us, and 5G will hopefully help enable that. While we have connectivity on the ground, we're going to also have connectivity in the space. Just to give you an idea, there will be over 1,200 satellites launched globally in the next 10 years. If you look at the number of satellites launched in the last 10 years, that's about maybe 25% more. But the biggest difference is that in the last 10 years, about 70 to 80% of satellites launched were for defense applications, and they allowed some bandwidth for civilian applications. Whereas 50% of the satellites that will be launched in the next 10 years will be for civilian applications.